Good evening, everybody. Edward Leos here, publisher of the Hotel Guide and actually get host of my new Travel Talk podcast. I'm excited to have one of my good friends, longtime friends and partner here, Lou Parker. She's actually in Los Angeles, and I'm going to let you introduce a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of get into talking about some great stuff with travel and kindness and wellness and the whole gamut. So, Lou, great to have you on the podcast.
Thank you. I'm super happy we finally did it. And, laughing earlier, I'm at work actually on a break, and I'm a TV news anchor in Los Angeles at a station called KTLA. And we have a green room. Can you see the Hollywood sign behind me?
I see it.
Kind of cool. Just listening. It's a fake window. And I was laughing at Edward. I was like, it's not real. I was like, nothing's real here in LA.
Hey, but it looks great. It looks great to have it.
Great destination to come. But I also, how Edward and I know each other is I used to work in San Antonio and that television market years ago. So we sort of all connected just Texas and kept in touch. And I recently went on a trip to south of France and did the article for your magazine. So It's just it's been great to reconnect with you.
No, it's been amazing. And obviously we keep up with the power of social media for good. There are the good aspects of social media. So for us to be able to kind of connect and stay in touch with each other, even though we haven't seen each other physically in a while, that's always a great thing. So I know you've got a lot of good things going on the personal side. One of your personal brand and company. I do not want to forget that. So let's start with that. Tell me a little bit about your company.
Okay, great. Yes, I started a media company. It's called BeKind Co. And it's basically all about kindness and keeping kindness at the forefront of our brains. And it sort of started about 4 or 5 years ago. This happened to me where I was trying to help someone in a situation, and it kind of blew up. And I was really upset about it and thought, I'm not going to be kind anymore. I'm just going to stay to myself. And I really sat in that space for a long time. And I woke up one day and realized that that's not working. And I want to be kind. And inherently, that's my gift, I think, is my superpower is that, we always ask people, like, what's your superpower? And I just really try to keep kindness at the forefront of my heart and my brain, and taking care of myself and also taking care of other people and showing love and respect. And so the company, we have articles, I do interviews, and we have a website and social media, of course, and we're hoping to do like a big women's conference out here soon as well.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. When we started talking a few years back regarding this, and how we could work together with the magazine, it just so aligns. I mean, nowadays people, when you travel, that's always supposed to be a good thing, right? It's supposed to be something fun. It's reinvigorating. And sometimes travel becomes a little crazy. You've seen all these videos and things popping up. So I love what you're doing with that. Tell me how that aligns with some of the travel aspects, maybe for you personally, but just in general.
Well, sometimes it makes me realize, like years ago when I went to India by myself, I took like this huge chance and traveled over there and went to a meditation yoga retreat. And it was mainly for self-care, just to show myself that I'm brave enough to be able to travel internationally, and also to be able to go and really get quiet and focus on me and focus on my thoughts and, issues and everything, so that was really great. But, not everyone can just get on a plane and go to India. It was a big project for me to take on.
Sure.
But you can do traveling just even during the day, even if it's a hike, a 3-hour hike or a 2-hour hike, or go somewhere for the weekend. Recently, there's this really cute place outside of LA. And if you've ever been to LA, it's like crazy and traffic. And I work in news. It's just like a lot. And I needed to get away. I just knew I needed some peace and quiet. And I love country life. So there's this place called Topanga Canyon, which is only about 45 minutes up in the hills from LA. And cabin. And I went to the cabin by myself with my dog after work on a Friday. And my intention was to write and get quiet, no drinking, no connection on internet, doing nothing. And I got there on like a Friday afternoon at 6 o'clock, and I got checked in and got settled. And then I was like, and now what am I supposed to do? On a treadmill, emotionally and physically,
Correct.
this treadmill, right? And I got to the cabin and I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? But I eventually settled in. And by the time I left that Sunday to come
Mhm.
home, I was in such a special place. So I encourage people, try to find a place where you can escape, maybe by yourself or
Mhm.
possibly a friend or a loved one, and do something that turns you on, that does it for you. Getting quiet, meditation, yoga, hiking, whatever it is. Just try to get away and trust that everything will be okay if you get quiet.
I think that's one of the biggest challenges with our world today is getting quiet, and really finding that peace because we have so much going on in our world. Um, and so just the fact that it did take you a little bit of adjustment, when you get there on a Friday to be like, what am I doing? Well, what's going to happen next?
Yeah, what do you do? So, I mean, and also too, a lot of people just want to like open the bottle of wine, right? Because that's an escape. And I was like, nope, we're not doing that. And so I just sat and read, right? And hung out with my dog, and then which led me to writing. And then the next day I woke up and went on a big hike. And, eventually everything settled. You know how it is to go to travel. It's like you don't really settle into the trip until like 2 days in, and then
Yeah.
you're home, right? Because there's so much activity. But when you go to a place to intentionally get quiet, even if it's 30 minutes outside of the city, it really makes a difference. It was a game changer for me to be able to do that.
That's pretty powerful. Just, like you said, it's great to get people in the traveling mode to even think locally, like where you can escape, finding those escape. You don't have to go all the way to India. You don't have to go across country to do those things.
I mean,
But it,
you're in Texas, I'm in California. Every state of people are listening. Every state has amazing locations. And listen, my cabin wasn't even nice. The bathroom was in the kitchen. Like, so my bedroom area was kind of cute and fun with a cowboy hat lamp and everything. But at first I was like, okay, okay. And then eventually by the end, I was like, oh my God, this is my space. I just feel so peaceful.
nice. So you were talking a little bit about, hey, you took a trip to India, a solo trip. And it's funny because I don't even know if I've ever done a solo trip. In even there's courage that goes into that. Talk a little bit about how that was and just traveling in general a little bit on the solo side.
Well, again, like when I showed up on Friday night at this cabin, when I went to India, same thing. I sort of was like, when I'm sitting at the restaurant, who do you talk to? Right.
Yeah.
Uh, and because you're by yourself. But what happens is you have a tendency to interact with other people. That's the cool thing when you travel solo because you don't have anybody else to talk to. So by default, you're chatting with maybe the other solo person or the
Mhm.
bar or the restaurant waitress or wherever you are. And then I met these two amazing women over in India who we totally keep in touch. One lives in Sweden and one lives in or Switzerland and one lives in Austin, Texas. So just making that way was really cool. And yeah, you do have to get some a little bit of courage to travel that far by yourself. And in fact, when I showed up in India, I was so tired. It was like 4 in the morning, and I had all these bags because we had collected a bunch of toys and clothes for some orphans
Uh-huh.
over there at an orphanage. So I had like tons of luggage, and somebody was supposed to pick me up from the resort where I was staying. And I got there, and you know how you pass everybody with the bags and stuff. And I did 3 loops, and I was like, my name's not here. Have I been bamboozled? And my first thought was, oh my God, I'm in India. I bet this place doesn't exist. I've been bamboozled. I've given them all. I went to the negative, and then all of a sudden, a guy tapped me on the shoulder. He was like, are you Lou Parker? And I was like, yeah. And by the way, nothing ever went bad. And that trip was one of those spectacularly easy, just magical trips. So taking a chance, even as a female, I think,
Mhm.
obviously you need to do your work. You need to do your investigations about the country and like what they expect. And then also remember safety. Don't take, nice
Yeah.
jewelry like that. And always watch your back. But I mean, I live and I've lived here for so many years in a large city. I'm always looking over my shoulder and sort of, trying to just be smart and not paranoid, right?
Correct.
And just trust and trust yourself and know that it's an adventure, it's a journey, and embrace it that way.
Well, you bring up some great points. Life is supposed to be lived. And, I think sometimes we forget that. And I think the other thing is a lot of times we forget that time is not ours. And so we just don't know where those next days are going to be. And so being able to enjoy those moments and see those things is just really a fantastic opportunity. I love how you brought that aspect into your trip to India and meeting a couple of people, and your mind probably went exactly where my mind. I would have gone negative, like, oh my God, like what's the wrong thing that's happening here? And wait, I'm in India by myself. And
Yeah.
so yeah,
I
I can.
my mind like it's a happy place, and I think that's what travel does for us. That was a long time years ago, and sometimes when I just need to be peaceful in my mind, I go to where we practice yoga in this big atrium, and then
Mhm.
I sometimes think of the orphans that I met, and realize that our problems here are first world problems. There were 50 kids living in one large house with like three adults and all the shoes out front. When I first got there, I was like, what shoes? Are like, oh, these are the shoes of the kids who live here. And I was like, what? So just seeing another culture, seeing different situations, seeing different lives. So many people are fearful of different countries and cultures because they don't know until they meet them, right? People are afraid of animals until they come here, and they may not love it, but there's nothing to be afraid of.
Sure.
It's an adventure.
No, and then life is an adventure, and I love how you're embracing that. I love how you're embracing that with your company, and then with the travel aspects that you've had. We're coming up to the last, few minutes here. I know this stuff goes really, really fast, but
Yes.
let's touch a little bit as we end this. Talk a little bit more about maybe a couple of your favorite places you've been, or maybe where you want to go, or some things you're thinking of doing over the next, what's a great fall tip, or for the holidays.
Okay. Well, a couple of my favorite places, definitely my trip to India. Bangalore is the southern portion of India. Also, I love South Africa. I've been to South Africa.
Wow.
Cape. Yeah, it's one. Cape Town reminds me a lot of Los Angeles. It's very
Okay.
similar to the oceans and the cliffs and the art component. It's a long, long trip though. I love Switzerland. That was always one of my favorites. But there are so many spectacular places here in the United States as well. The hill country of Texas, one of
Yeah.
my favorites. I've spent a lot of time there when I lived in San Antonio. And talk about a getaway, just getting like a little cabin or someplace to go in Fredericksburg or somewhere in that area, ride some horses. I'm actually craving riding horses right now. It's just
Oh
I miss
wow.
country life. Um, Also, I'm dating a guy who lives up or used to be from or is from San Francisco. So we're looking to maybe do a San Francisco trip, which I haven't been up there in quite a while. I'd love to go see the redwoods up in Mendocino and that area. The West Coast, if you've never been out here, the cliffs along the Pacific Ocean are just spectacular because they're different. I'm from South Carolina. Beaches and the rolling sand dunes of South Carolina are spectacular as well. They're just different.
Different.
And
Mhm.
contrast of East West Coast.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, those are all you're getting me in the vibe to really want to go travel some more. I'm going on a couple of places over the next 2 months, and I
Where
want to keep. Oh, I'm going to Miami. The Aqualina Resort is hosting in next week, actually, or a week, and then next month we'll be in Tucson at the Tucson National Resort.
Oh, that's nice. Tucson just made me think of Sedona.
Yes.
Sedona is one I've always wanted to go, and that's never worked out, and like just the timing and the everything. But what a spiritual place I've heard that is.
Oh, likewise, likewise. I'm looking forward to it. So as we wrap up here, how can people find you? Tell everybody what your website is. What's the best way to stay in contact with Lou Parker?
Well, easy. My personal website is louparker.com. It's LU and then Parker. And then also my BeKind Co is literally that .com. And I'm on Instagram a lot at Lou Parker LA and also
Yep.
BeKind. And I have a 108-pound dog. If you ever want to follow my dog at Moose Dog LA.
Oh yeah, I've got to follow your dog for sure. I've,
Yeah, and watch me on ktla.com. I'm doing like 20 hours of news a week. It's kind of crazy, but mainly Instagram. If you want to keep in touch, I'm there. I'm on Facebook. I'm on X. I'm on pretty much everything.
Perfect. Well, again, I want to thank you for taking the time out between your sets over there in LA, and I really appreciate you imparting some wisdom to our readers and travel listeners. So again, thank you, Lou, for being on the Hotel Guide Travel Talk, and hopefully this won't be the last time.
Of course, and congratulations on your magazine and the link that you've been out there. It's so incredible. And also the article I wrote for you is in the latest or either the edition prior to that. So you guys check it out. Yep. I went with my brother to the south of France and I talked all about what we did.
Yep. It's one of our favorite articles. Thanks again, Lou.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Take care.